So, thank you for hopping on. And I have a few questions written out, but I just wanted to get let everyone know a little background about yourself and about like your
Sure.
nutritional standpoints, health standpoints, and fitness. Just like a little background on like who you are, where you're from, what you're up to. Let's start cooking to inspire. Let's change the world through culinary.
Yeah, so I'm Iggy. I'm 22, and you might be able to hear I'm from the UK. And I like really had no nutritional exercise standpoints up until about 4 months ago. Really had no idea what I was doing and really feeling gross and icky and not really sure why, and like really struggling with like gaining loads of weight and just exhausted all the time and stuff. And then I got diagnosed at the beginning of the year with PCOS, and I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. This is like it's a hormone imbalance thing if you don't know what PCOS is. But yeah, basically a couple of the things are like your levels are everywhere and you gain loads of weight. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I had like a massive health kick kind of in response to being diagnosed with that, and really just went to absolute basics of learning to cook healthy things. Like I'd not been doing much cooking in like a very hectic student life, like just running around and grabbing convenience food. And I really just stopped and kind of, yeah, learned to cook simple healthy stuff. And I started running, which I really didn't think I would keep up. Like I made a video because I was like, this is the only time I'll ever run and I have to document it, and then
I'm
kept it
running
up.
like
And
every
so I
single
just,
day. I see all of
yeah,
your running videos.
yeah.
I love them.
They're so fun. Yeah. Yeah, so I run and I eat a lot of vegetables. I'm like not strictly on anything, like not any diet program, and I don't count calories. I had bulimia as a teenager, so that's like an extra layer of like trying not to slide into old habits, but like just trying to build in healthy habits across the board. And
So
pretty
share
much
a little bit about that. Like, do you still struggle with like the eating disorder, or is that like, like?
I think it's something that is kind of background. So I'm like 5 years out of recovery. So there's like a lot of conquering that's happened and a lot of really, really positive, like moving forward. But it's definitely like a background thing. And so I think previously in the last couple of years, I kind of squished it by not thinking about health at all. And then it like hadn't really come up. But now that I'm like really thinking about nutrition, it's like there's those thoughts in the back of your mind that you have to kind of catch them and like put them to the side, like stuff like labeling foods like good and bad that I catch myself doing, and that I have to like be like, nope, this is great for you. There's not bad or good food. It's like your fuel. Or stuff like thinking of exercise as like a way to earn food. That's one I really have like been working on changing in my brain at the moment. Like with exercise being like a celebration of what my body can do, not a punishment for what I've eaten, is like a really, really big one. So they're kind of loitering in the background. But I have like come so far as a person and my like love for myself that it's not a huge issue anymore, which is great.
That's awesome. And so with PCOS, do you still like you still have that? Is that
Yeah.
something that is like curable?
Not really. You can manage the symptoms. So one thing that's suggested is cutting down on gluten and dairy. A lot of people find that that helps. Doctors generally just prescribe you the pill and tell you to lose weight, and that's about it. Um, so it's not really curable. It's just something you manage the symptoms of as best you can.
And
And people have different things that help them.
do you have hypothyroidism too?
Yeah, I have hypothyroidism, so that's like basically my metabolism is rock bottom. So
Are
the
you
like
on
thyroid
medication
gland doesn't
for
produce
that?
enough stuff to like, yeah, so I'm on medication for that and I have been for a few years. And that's just something I'll stay on medication forever for. So there's like a lot of different layers of challenge.
Yeah, you're going through like you have a lot of layers and obstacles. But you know what's cool and why like I really was drawn to like your Instagram account, and for those who are gonna watch this later, like we never knew each other before Instagram, and I like loved your account. And the thing that stuck out to me was that you had thyroid disease, because I have hypothyroidism too. And then I went through a
Right.
period where I had some issues, like health issues, and they thought I had PCOS too, but I honestly haven't like followed up.
Yeah.
So like I think I'm good, but like I never really followed up, but I
Right.
had like a bunch of cysts on my ovaries and they like
Yeah.
were concerned about that as well. And like I
Yeah.
feel like thyroid disease in general has just like skyrocketed in the past like 5 years or so. I've had it, I was diagnosed when I was
Yeah.
like 18 or 19. And I'm 24 now. So I've had it for like a long time. But one of like the biggest struggles was I had to get my blood work done every single month. I was on like 3 different pills a day. You take them in the morning. You
Yeah.
can't eat for like an hour. And like, to be honest with you, like my doctors, I think they're more like pediatrician type doctors. They weren't specialists. They really just didn't
Mhm.
know how to
Right.
help me. Um, and that was like really
Yeah.
frustrating
Yeah.
because, like you said, like I would literally gain like 20 pounds in like a week. And then they would switch the dose on my medicine and I
Right.
would lose 20 pounds in a week. And it would just like go up and down, which
A
is
lot of
frustrating.
yo-yoing, yeah.
And like all
Hmm.
like the hormonal stuff, like
Right.
one day I'm like super mean and I have no
Mhm.
idea why. And then I'm like happy.
Yep.
So, but I actually went to a
Yeah. I
holistic
really feel
doctor. What'd you say?
that. Okay.
Yeah, so I went,
I just really feel that with the hormone feeling.
right? I don't think people, I never even realized how like uncontrollable it really is. And like the mood swings and stuff, you really have, like, you feel like
Mhm.
you have no control over your body and your moods, and
It's a
you
roller
don't even know
coaster.
what's
Yep.
happening. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
I was going to share that I went to a holistic doctor, and I think thyroid disease is a doormat disease. So like I'll always have it, but I'm no longer on medication. All of my
Yeah.
levels are normal. Like my weight is at like the healthy weight. Like I basically like fought off
Cool.
the disease from a cell level. And so that's why it's so important that I eat this way and like maintain like this lifestyle. But I agree with you, like how hard it
Yeah.
is to think like working out is not like a punishment, or like just because I went on a
Right.
run doesn't, like, just that mindset of like, oh, like my relationship with food, it like it's tough, and I like really resonate with everything that you say, and like
Yeah.
good food versus bad food and like my cheat days. So
Hmm.
it's like a really hard, it was a huge obstacle for me, and now I feel like I'm pouring into it so that I can create and find community with it, so that it's not this
Yeah.
huge obstacle and like feeling like an
Hmm.
outcast, or like no one really eats like this and I'm like the health freak.
Right.
They don't understand that this is me just trying to
Hmm.
survive and have energy like some of my
Yeah.
friends who don't have disease. Um, so yeah, that's why I think this is so
Yeah.
cool. And like, thank you so much for doing this with me, because I think it's so important to like share this with others, and like also just sharing your experience
Definitely.
can really inspire people. I know I messaged you like with your running videos, you might not be thinking like they're that big of a deal, but I like know, like you posted so many and you were consistent with it that like it's in my mind. And like sometimes when I open up Instagram and I see it and I'm feeling like tired or like don't really want to do it today, it like motivates me and inspires me. Like I could go at least for like a walk and like jog a little bit. Like I could do
Yeah.
that. So like thank you for doing that.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
That's, it's literally like that's just like impact people can have on each other, and just like being open and
Yeah.
sharing about our journeys. But I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, do you know about like keto? Because I know that was something you said you're not keto.
Yeah, so I have watched a couple of documentaries and been like really impressed by the science, and like I have a friend who is what does she have? She has a couple of degrees in food science, and she did keto and she was explaining it to me, and it's something that I've been like, I need to try this. But
I
I'm
think
like
your food
kind
is
of nervous because I really love bread. And like I think it definitely is quite intimidating. And it's I think it's something I definitely would try, you know, for like a month and see how I felt afterwards. Like I would definitely be really open to trying it. But I would love to hear more on whether like how do you like make it manageable? Like how do you take away the like intimidating thing of no carbs? I would love to hear from
Girl,
your
I think from
experience.
a girl's perspective, it's actually different than guys. And like it goes back to like
Right.
hormone levels. So for me, like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
tracking it with like the devices every day. I'm not counting my macros or counting, like I don't do calorie counting either
Right.
like you, because I don't want that pressure or like
Yeah.
intimidation. It's more of just like following like those guidelines and like just understanding like what foods do and like cutting out a lot of the carbs. I mean, you'll lose weight like that, but it's more of like the health benefits to it and like the inside of your body. But I still eat,
Yeah.
like there are days where I still eat carbs. So it's like I just kind of go
Right.
back and forth. Like if I feel like I just want to go a little more strict keto, then I'll just do like a bunch of meat and veggies and like fun things like that. But then there's some days where I add in the carbs.
Yeah.
And for another thing you said, bread, that like I love bread. And just because you like I live a lifestyle like a little more keto doesn't mean you can't have bread. I just make it with almond flour
Right.
and coconut flour and all the good grains. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not using like any wheat,
Right. Yeah.
that which is all like sugar. So it's like I still get to like
Yeah.
I
So
don't
just
think I'm missing
it's
anything.
more
I eat
creative.
bread if I want it. I make chocolate chip
Yeah.
cookies like the correct way, like using the almond
Yeah.
flour, and it's like healthy cookies. So it actually makes me feel good eating cookies.
Right.
Like it's okay
Yeah.
to have a cookie
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
way. So it's really fun.
Yeah. And it's definitely like it sounds like it's something really creative, like finding ways around like the using the ingredients that you can use and like getting excited about what things are in it rather than being like, oh, I can't have this. So it's definitely something I'd be up for trying.
I think you would like kill it with like some recipe ideas. And like cauliflower, you can use that for like everything, which is cool. But it's
Yeah, I've
also
heard
so
that.
good for your body, and it's
Oh,
really
right.
good for people with thyroid disease. That's why I mention it, just because it's
Right.
gonna really allow your body to
Yeah.
work well. Um,
Yeah. I would definitely be up for it.
yeah, that's so cool. Did you have it? Oh, yes. Going back to your thyroid disease, what were some of your symptoms, or did you have any?
Yeah, I had loads. I think we've talked about like the hormones being all up and down and weight gain, but also like fatigue and feeling like super lethargic and like just like I really want to nap all the time and I've slept so much today, so why do I want to nap again? And just feeling kind of groggy and like ugh, I think was the main thing. And it's the biggest difference I've noticed just having a lot more like get up and go as I'm like changing my diet and taking medication and just having so much more energy and being more awake is
So
really a
were
big
you having
difference to
those
where I was
symptoms?
feeling so sluggish.
Were you having those symptoms and then you thought you should go get tested?
Yeah, so I was like having those symptoms and just putting on weight at like an unreasonably fast rate, and so I got tested, and also my grandmother has it, so I was like maybe this is hereditary, maybe I have it too. Yeah.
And so how long have you had it?
I think I've known about it for like 4 years. 5 years. It's been a while. It's definitely been a while. So the hypothyroidism is like something that I've been managing for ages, and PCOS is a recent thing.
That's, yeah, we sound like similar time ranges.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
lucky us. So have you felt like the
Woo!
medicines that they prescribe you, like, have those helped you? Or do you think it's more of like the diet change
There's,
helped you?
I think there's definitely been a difference, like a noticeable difference, but in the medication. But I think that the lifestyle changes have helped much more. Like there was a tangible difference when I started it, and like it did help some, but like running and learning to cook properly and feed myself well has definitely been a much bigger change. And I've been listening to so many podcasts on like lifestyle medication and how important that is, and like that's really I think been the thing that's made the major difference.
Do you think you'll try and like wean yourself off of like the medicine at some point? How have your levels been?
Um, they've been pretty balanced. Potentially. I mean, that would be really nice. I think it's something that I will try and kind of get to a healthy weight and get to like a consistent healthy place, and then go back and recheck and ask if I can come off the medication as kind of a long-term goal, but I don't think that's like in sight quite yet.
Yeah, that was huge for me when I was going. I wanted to get off those things so fast. And it's actually, you definitely want to like talk to them and like have someone know, like you actually end up doing that, like know about it, because I had to do it a
Right.
specific way just to come off of it. Like, and I had so many
Yeah.
like withdrawals almost just from coming off of the medicine. Like it took me probably 6 months to get off of it. It was like, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
and it would decrease gradually.
Yeah. And I was so
Yeah.
scared to get off of them too, because I didn't know what was going to happen. But once you're off of them, it's
Yeah.
pretty nice. um,
Yeah.
how was it in like the UK? Because that was a huge challenge for me. It's changing a lot here in the US, like in regards to like food, and like I eat all organic, like grass fed, like really healthy quality food. Um, and they're starting to have a few restaurants that like have organic and like healthier options that I could trust and eat at. But like 5 years ago, like I felt so isolated. There was like nowhere I could eat out at. It was really hard just to find the food. So how is it in the UK?
I think we're pretty good, especially in cities. Like, the vegan scene is massive in the UK, and with that comes a lot of healthy restaurants that are like more pushing for healthy food. So I actually haven't ever found a problem with eating out, although like maybe cost, like the healthier restaurants are always the more expensive ones. But I think we have yeah, pretty good access, and supermarkets as well. It's really easy to get organic, good quality stuff. So I think we're really lucky in that.
That's good. And do you feel like have you heard like do a lot of people over there have thyroid issues or like PCOS?
Yeah, I think it's like 1 in 10 women have PCOS in the UK. Like it's really common. But so many are like undiagnosed, or like they don't like get a diagnosis for ages, and then they're like, oh, that's what that was. That makes sense. Um, yeah, I think it's really common, but like to different levels. So you could just have it like, and it doesn't really mess your system too much, or you could have it kind of chronically, and then like it really messes with like trying to get pregnant, or like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Quite
Um,
common.
how is everything, by the way, it's a little bit of a side note, but how is everything going for you and like things in the UK with what's going on currently?
Um, yeah, well, life is slightly feeling like it's returning to normal, but we're still kind of under lockdown. Like, you can meet in groups of 6 outdoors, and you still have to keep 2 meters space, and you can't like meet indoors yet or hang out in anyone's house or anything, or like can't get a ride in anyone's car, which I think is one of the weirdest things. But like pubs opened this week, so like Britain is happy. But yeah, still feeling quite strange.
Have you been
Definitely doesn't feel
quarantining?
like it's over. Sorry?
Have you been quarantining?
Yeah, so I was in Sweden when everything completely kicked off, on a semester abroad, and I had to come home and isolate for 14 days. So it was literally like me in my room for 14 days, like my room and my bathroom, and my parents delivering food to the
Whoa.
door. So that was really intense. Like I genuinely just didn't leave my room for 14 days, and that was the weirdest thing. And then we had to like quarantine, like, but then like I was in the rest of the house for the next few months, and the rules were you were allowed out for 1 hour a day of exercise, which is actually how I really got into running, because I was like, if we're only allowed 1 hour of exercise a day, then I should really make the most of it. So it was my one government allowed hour of exercise that made me run, really.
That's pretty awesome. And I love that you like
Yeah.
took that as like such a positive and like created a possibility out of that.
Right.
It stinks though that you were in Sweden for a whole semester and had to come
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, it was rubbish. I'm a language student, so I had done a semester in Austria practicing my German, and I was in Stockholm practicing my Swedish, and I was literally there for like 3 weeks. I was meant to be there for 6 months, but then yeah, I had to come home. So I've been doing university online for the rest of the semester.
And what kind of things do
Yeah.
you have moving forward? Like what are your plans, or like what do you want to do?
So I have 1 year left of university. Um, and yeah, I graduate about this time next year, and then I'm looking into like translation and teaching and anything that allows me to travel a lot.
Love
Yeah,
traveling.
love languages, love travel.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome. Do you want to live in like, do you want to
Mhm.
just bounce around, or do you want to live in like one specific spot everywhere?
Oh, I would live anywhere. I mean, I love mainland Europe, so I've lived in Berlin and Vienna and a little bit in Stockholm, and I just love all of those places. Scandinavia is one of the best places in the world, I think. I could definitely see myself moving back to Sweden.
That's so
Yeah,
cool. I never got to go to that region, but I went to
right.
Austria and I liked it.
Yeah. Scandinavia is a bit like far north when people do the usual like Central Europe route, but I totally recommend it.
Which country?
Oh, all of them. If you want the most beautiful coastline ever, then Norway. If you want like really hipster cities, then like Denmark, um, Copenhagen. It's so beautiful.
I hope that the US is allowed back into the EU at some point so I can come.
Yeah, eventually.
They just released it and like we're not allowed in right now for a while
Sad.
probably.
Oh, sad.
I know. And so what's your like vision with your cooking and like your Instagram and all of that? I feel like that's kind of
Yeah.
like, it's kind of like me. It's like this passion, or it looks like your passion and like you're really into it and you have fun like creating all those posts and cooking and like talking about it. So do you have like a vision with that?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess one thing I wanted to do was show how easy it is to make a big change, or like document the small things that make a big change easier. So like when I looked at a lot of health and fitness, thank you, a lot of health and fitness accounts, they looked super intimidating and super like out of reach, and like this person is in a bikini on a beach eating kale, and that's never going to be me. And so one of the things, sorry, my dad's just brought me a cup of tea. One of the things I really wanted to do was show it as like really real and down to earth, and try and make it really simple and accessible. One of my best friends, I like ran the idea past her, and she was like, yeah, this is great, because I've just never seen a fitness page that doesn't make me feel rubbish about my body. And I just thought that was like wow, that's okay, it's so important that we have like these real people who we can relate to showing the changes you can make. And I like really didn't expect the page to have as many people like come and follow as have. Like, I thought it would be me and like 4 people hanging out having a good time. So I really didn't expect the response, but it's been really fun to like, I've just meet so many different people who've messaged and said, oh, I have PCOS too, or I've had thyroidism, or I'm trying to learn to run, what's the thing you found most helpful? And just like creating these little communities around the different things, of like encouraging each other, and it all being so positive. And like, one of my really big things is like, no shame, no comparison. This page is not going to make you feel guilty. It's not going to make you feel rubbish. It's only going to encourage you. And yeah, support you and be like your biggest cheerleader. Yeah,
I love that. I love your whole page though. And you're so true that like they are really intimidating when you see like the big accounts. And it's like, it really puts you down sometimes. I mean, that's something that I get to work on in like this comparison within my mind. But, you know, sometimes I do want to just see someone that look like I can relate to. Because I'm not going to be like the girl in the bikini that's like got a 6-pack. And like, too, I think with this disease, it's not like a victimhood or like a victim story, but, you know, I think you can relate. Like, we do like struggle in a different way than if we didn't have like these health issues on top of like our nutritional and like fitness, you know, like this stuff, like, and we have to be more, like, I have to be more careful about like the foods that I eat and like how much I work out, because then that can really actually be worse if I like work out too much. So it's like, it's cool that like, I love your page. It's so relatable. It's fun. You do make it look like easy. So it's cool to have that community. And I'm glad it's not just 4 people hanging out with you. Is there anything you wanted to share to anybody who's going to watch this later on?
I would just say, if you have like any doubt about like whether you can make a change, you absolutely can, or like what is possible. Like, I really never thought I could be a person who ran and enjoyed running, or that I would ever be that person who like liked making massive bougie salads. Like, I just thought that was never going to be me. But like, little changes have made such a difference, and like tiny steps have like transformed my outlook and how I feel. And like, if you're thinking it just looks too huge to make a big change in your health, like, it's really not too huge. Just take like a small step at a time. And also, like, I think one of the big things has been looking at like a broader sweep of my health, so not just like obsessively counting calories, but looking at my sleep and water and like nutrition and exercise and like steps, like, am I moving in the day? Like, just looking at a really broad sweep of habits. I think like habit trackers are one of the things that I do and have shared, and like they really help, because it's like, it's kind of an overarching sweep of lots and lots of small changes that have contributed all together to feeling so much better, rather than like obsessing over one super strict diet or calorie counting, or like focusing on just running or just water or like whatever. Just it's a sweep of lots of little changes that collectively make a big difference, rather than one thing.
I love that because that's so true. This is super random. Do you like do any breathing exercises or like meditation work?
So I'm a Christian and I pray, and I guess that's kind of similar to meditating. And I like meditate as in I sit and read my Bible and like kind of soak it in. And that like is super, super calming. And like a really peaceful time. Yeah.
Are you like, so you're Christian? Is that like
Yeah.
associated with, it's not Catholic over there, right? Because I know
No,
Europe.
I'm part of a Baptist church. We have like all different kind of church, but I'm not really like strictly any one kind of church. I just really love Jesus and think the Bible's pretty great, and I'm trying to live by that teaching. So I wouldn't like fit myself into any particular category other than like God is great. Let's try and join in with what he's doing.
I'm the same way, and I love that because everyone always is like, what's your like denomination? And like, I don't really have one, you know, it's just like a relationship with me and God. And that's cool. I didn't even know that about you because that's a huge part of my life too.
Yeah.
And definitely like diving into the word and getting in community with like small groups and stuff has been really uplifting and supportive for me during this time because I really struggled through quarantine for a while. And being away from family, like completely by myself. And so I just like dove into the word and for me, I like sought out those community groups because I needed community and like prayer, and I needed anything to like help me through that time. So I love that.
So cool. It's something I would definitely like to like share a bit more on my page. I'm like, I just kind of sneak it in where I'm like on my habit track because I've got like read the Bible and worship every day. But like, yeah, it's something I would definitely love to share some more about because it is such a big part of my life.
Yeah, me too. And that's a good point because like I didn't see that, or I wouldn't have known that. Maybe I didn't look hard enough on your page, but it wasn't like present. And then I'm like, well, it's not really on my page either at all. And then I'm like, it kind of makes me reflect and think, okay, is this something like that's so important to me and a big part of my life? Like, how can I can start incorporating that in my posts and like have a whole nother like community that will be really supportive for me because that's a big part of my life. So it's kind of like interesting how I neglected to share that on my cooking page. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, cool.
Yeah, and it's something I've thought about. Like, I know that like the stuff that we do, you know, is all to glorify God, and it's all like positive and like, but like, how do we name him in there, you know? And like definitely looking at the ways to be speaking more about that would be really cool.
Yeah, and that's like a huge part of my story, and I'm not sure if it is for you, but like even just getting diagnosed with the disease and then like my struggle through it all, like really leaning on him, praying about it, like fighting off the disease was such a struggle for me, and like he's really like what's gotten me through. I mean, this seems like such a small disease, or it's like to outsiders, you know, they didn't think it was like that big of a deal, but to me, I had literally every symptom you could possibly have. And like, it's so, I mean, it can lead to bigger disease. Like you can die from this. And there have been people that get thyroid cancer and they die. So it's just, it's crazy how sometimes any kind of health issue can be put down as like, well, it's not, it could be this, which seems more deadly than this, but yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd love to hear sharing more of that on my page.
Yeah, and I think for me it's such a big part of my story in like overcoming my eating disorder, like just looking at my identity, and my faith had so much to do with the foundations of my identity and who am I and who have I been designed to be and what does God say about me rather than what is the negativity that's swirling around my head. It's really like way too big a part of the recovery to ignore. So that's definitely a challenge to me to share about that too.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it looks like we both get to start sharing a little bit more of that part on our Instagrams. Well, I think I'll wrap this up, but I thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your knowledge and just your journey. It's like super inspiring. And I know it's going to like have an impact on like even more people within both of our communities. And just like, thank you for taking the time to like do this with me, because I'm sure it might've been a little bit random me reaching out, but it really like means the world.
No, it's great.
I love that we get to like form a friendship relationship. And I'm down to do
no, such an honor. I was like, so grateful for you reaching out. It's just like, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. So fun.
So much fun, right? I love like making videos and like meeting people and just kind of like growing. So thank you. And I will make sure that I can try and figure out how to send you this video. But I really hope that you have a good rest of your day, and we're going to be in contact. So I'll probably message you after I end this. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.